Hey, quick question. Did you ever have that one bully in school who just wouldn't leave you alone? Yeah, we all did. Today I've got some crazy stories where people finally got their payback. Trust me, you're gonna love this. Back in high school, there was this guy who made my life miserable. Once, he even gave me a black eye and got suspended for it. Years later, out of nowhere, I get a Facebook message from him. He apologized for everything. I told him I didn't hold a grudge. We were just dumb kids who didn't know any better. We ended up grabbing a drink one day, and that's when he completely broke down. He confessed he was fighting a serious drinking problem, had no job, and was about to get kicked out of his mom's place. I guess I've always been a softie, so I offered him a job at the restaurant I was managing. That was about 2 years ago. Fast forward to just a few months ago. He's now the kitchen manager at the same place. One night he asked if I'd like to grab another drink. This time he surprises me. He'd bought tickets for me and my girlfriend to go to Colorado. He told me, "I'll never be able to truly repay you for helping me when no one else would, but at least I can try." Colorado was amazing. We got really high and had a blast. I can count on one hand the bullies from my past who really stuck with me, and what happened to them still surprises me. The first one? My elementary school tormentor. Somewhere along the line, we ended up bonding over video games. Fast forward to today, we're still close friends, and even our partners get along. Life's weird like that. Then there was a girl from high school who made my life miserable. Years later, I'm in this quirky coffee shop slash nightclub when I hear someone call my name. I turn around and there she is, the nightmare from my teenage years. But instead of sneering, she runs up and hugs me like we're old friends. We catch up, and I finally ask why she's so happy to see me. She looks genuinely sorry and admits she used to judge people without ever giving them a chance. She said she was glad we were finally cool. The third one is the hardest to talk about. He was the classic jock who made middle and high school rough for me. One day, completely out of the blue, he sits next to me during a class project. He starts asking about my life, then quietly wonders if it hurt when he used to mess with me. I told him the truth. Of course it did. He was silent for a moment, then apologized. He said he was wrong for the way he treated people. A week later, he took his own life in front of his parents' house. I'll always regret not going to his funeral. At the time, I was too confused and scared to face it, but that regret has stayed with me. Looking back, I realized there was never any revenge. We just grew up. Life turned out to be far scarier than anything we ever did to each other as kids. How do you think did they deserve it? I grew up without much money, so I always brought my own lunch to school. By the time I hit high school, some of the older kids thought it was hilarious to pop open my locker and steal whatever I'd packed. It became a daily routine, for them at least. One day I decided I'd had enough. I baked a big batch of chocolate chip cookies, loaded with extra chips, and added 2 whole boxes of X-Lax to the mix. I made sure to keep them in my locker so no one innocent would accidentally get dosed. Sure enough, the cookies vanished, and so did 5 of my bullies, for the next 3 days. After that, my lunch stayed exactly where I left it. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the nicest way to handle things, but it definitely worked. Everyone dreams of such revenge. Over summer break, I hit a massive growth spurt, and my biggest bully didn't. When school started again, I was practically twice his size. One day I caught him messing with me in the bathroom. I'd had enough, so I picked him up and dropped him straight into a trash can. From that moment on, everything changed. He still tried to mess with me, but he never got close enough for me to grab him again. The fear in his eyes said it all. The days of him pushing me around were over. This story seems to be taken from an action movie. Back in year 4, I was about 7 or 8, going to a private Christian school in Australia. I didn't exactly fit in. I was openly atheist, and most of my classmates made sure I knew I didn't belong. Most of the time it was just verbal jabs. But there was this one kid, Nick, who always got physical. Walking past him meant getting punched in the gut. If I was in front of him, he'd kick my legs or shove me into bushes, even toward traffic. One day we were waiting in a single file line to get into class. Nick stood in front of me and, out of nowhere, kicked me hard in the shin. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Go on, do it again. I dare you." And he did. This time I was ready. I caught his leg mid-kick, yanked it up over his head, and watched him lose his balance. He crashed backward onto the concrete and split his head open. Needed stitches and everything. Nick never laid a hand on me again. I have no words for this. Back in school, she used to make my life miserable, always calling me names, humiliating me in front of everyone. I never thought I'd hear from her again. But about 3 weeks ago, out of nowhere, she messaged me on Facebook. It was a long, heartfelt apology. She explained why she acted the way she did, admitted it was no excuse, and said she was truly sorry for all the pain she caused me. We kept talking, and I told her she looked amazing. Honestly, she's gorgeous. At one point I mentioned, kind of jokingly, "I like pale girls," and she asked if I was into girls. I said, "Yeah." Suddenly we're flirting, and that turned into meeting up, then dinner, and somehow me moving into her place. Here's where it gets weird. She's seriously wealthy, never asks me for rent, and treats me like a princess. I can't help but wonder, can people really change? Is this all guilt? Does she actually like me? I'm so confused. Tonight we're sharing a bed, and I have no idea how I'm even supposed to cuddle. What do you think about these stories? Tell us about your cases. It will be interesting to hear.